Getting down to the nitty gritty, we're going to discuss all of these playoff games in the NFL this weekend here on Friday edition of Locked On NFL.
The barbershop is open and Tony Wiggins has a chair for you. He's ready with some real NFL talk. The local experts of Locked On bring their expertise, and Wiggy is ready with his clippers and shears. Sit down and enjoy. The new Locked On NFL starts now. Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It is your team every day. We thank you for making us your first listen here on Locked On NFL, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. And shout out to those everydayers that join us each and every day. We appreciate it. Make sure you do the same if you can. And check us out wherever you get your pods, whether you watch or listen. I'm here with my man, Matt Williamson, as I always am here on a Friday from the Pick Six podcast that he does with my man Brian Peacock. And what we're going to do is run down these games. I'm going to obviously let Matt pick them. I got it right there on the screen. It says, pick them with Matt Will. That's what we're going to do. We're going to let Matt get it done because I do such a terrible job at it. Frigid temps, will they play a role in the semis? I do think that's the case. And Josh Allen will dominate again. And that's where we're going to start, Matt, because I saw it firsthand last week. I thought the Jaguars were going to win because they could take advantage of the shortcomings of Buffalo. And I was wrong. And Bills fans let me know how wrong I was. And I appreciate them for that. But the thing about Josh Allen and Buffalo, what you have to do before you get to their weaknesses, you got to deal with their strengths. And their strengths is number 17.
Boy, is he good. And, I mean, what amazed me, a couple things, Wig, is he had like 3 different major injuries in that game. I mean, the way his knee reacted, and he was fine, and the hand, and I think he has a broken foot before the game even started.
Yeah. He's just a tough guy, man.
He's a machine. I mean, he's just different than everybody else and plays through it all. And yes, he had some spectacular plays, but I thought this was as good of a game manager as I've ever seen him, at the line of scrimmage, going where the right spots with the football, command of the offense, despite the injuries, despite playing a really good opponent. And they got a really good opponent coming up.
They absolutely do. And we are not going to waste time. We're going to get right to it. You're going to see the Bills and the Broncos on the screen together. They did a crossover edition as we previewed the show. And here you go with Joe Marino and my man Sayer.
I mean, you mentioned it for the Buffalo Bills, and that's why I think this is such an intriguing matchup on paper. Even if you're just an NFL fan watching this game, these two teams, you can point to Josh Allen. I think that's why a lot of folks are saying, hey, I like the Bills in this matchup. They've got Josh Allen. He's battle-tested in the playoffs. This could be his year sort of thing. But I think when you look at both teams, it's that resilience, no matter who they're going up against, that you feel like gives each team a chance to win every game. I mean,
without Jordan Lewis and Travis Hunter, the Jaguars didn't have the dudes on the field that could jump balls, be really, really instinctive, and be more sticky to the wide receivers. Therefore, you got a game that was 28 out of 35 for Josh Allen. And what they did was, to me, they took a page out of the Bill Walsh book. Okay, yeah, we can't run. Jaguars had the #1 run defense in the league for real, right? And even though the Bills had the #1 running offense, well, they didn't let them get away with anything. Jacksonville was going to stop them. So you know what they did, Matt? They turned into 3- and 4-yard passes and used the short passing game as the running game.
Yeah, and smart stuff, obviously. And Allen shows that he can play it any way you want. If you want him to be the runner and the engine of the offense, or if you just want him to point guard it up, I think that's something he's highly capable of as well. Now, I know we'll preview the games in the third segment, but Denver does have the corners to maybe force them into a different style without question. I don't like and kind of as you alluded to, I don't really like the Bills pass catchers versus man coverage.
Yeah, I don't. It kind of perplexed me a little bit with Anthony Campanile, the Jags DC. At some point, you usually do not play man coverage against a team that has a running quarterback. Then he gets a lot of long gains because the DBs they have their back to the quarterback. I was surprised with all of those injuries that they didn't go to more man. because you couldn't run.
Yeah,
but it's just like that's just not what they do. They play a lot of bail, and they play a lot of zone in Jacksonville and off. So you can't just start doing something just because the other team has a weakness, because then that puts you in a position where you're being weak because you're doing something that you don't tend to practice very often. Another big game coming up, man, and I got to get to this one. I love it because I actually think the Seattle Seahawks have the best defense in the league. I'm not saying that because Houston is in our division. I actually compared these two teams. I said, okay, the three best players on both defenses are the two edges and the corner for Houston. But then after that, even though there's all of these players are really, really good, I just think you could probably throw Lassiter in the top 10, but maybe the next 6 or 7 guys all play for Seattle. And they beat up on the Niners to get home field advantage in Santa Clara. Now this game is in Seattle, and guess what? The Niners got to go up there, and they're banged up. Check this out.
I am really fascinated to see how these two coaching mad scientists handle this game when they just played each other a couple of weeks ago. And I'm sure Shanahan's like McDonald, where all there's stuff we didn't use in that game that we have ready to go. There's going to be some carryover, and that just makes it so fascinating.
Yeah, and certainly it's ratcheted up because this time you know that you're going home and there's not another game to be played even if you lose, unlike the last matchup. And then you just played, so those emotions are going to be raw.
I don't know if they held anything back. I know Trent Williams
didn't agree with that part.
I don't think they held anything back because they could have been playing at home and they would have had a bye. So who wanted to go to Philadelphia, right, in the cold weather to play that team, and you're already banged up? But it is going to be a good game. And just because they got beat a couple of weeks ago doesn't usually mean anything. But the way they got beat tells me it's going to happen again the same way.
I lean the same way. And, I didn't mention this with Denver. Probably will whenever we start picking games. But I do think the week off is very useful for this week of the divisional games for sure. I'm sure Seattle has some guys that are banged up that we don't know about that are really happy about resting. I'm with you. I actually prefer Houston's defense, but they're the best two in the league, and they're both outstanding. I wish Kittle was involved in this game. He's not going to be. Maybe they'll have Pearsall. Trent Williams is back, but still, I look at that. Robert Saleh did a tremendous job last week, and he has all year. But part of that to me was just the Eagles' offensive coordinator scheme just being really, really poor. And you're not going to get that on either side of the ball from Seattle.
No, absolutely vanilla. The thing I like about Seattle's team is they play two running backs, kind of like Detroit, right? And they use those running backs, and they run. And the reason why they can do that is because they say, okay, you run to control the game, but you need to pass the ball to score. Well, if their defense keeps the other team from scoring, then you can invest in those body blows, and eventually it wears people out. And what happens is now you roll out, you run play action, and you roll out Sam Darnold. I'm not telling you anybody that Sam Darnold is Matthew Stafford or Josh Allen, but what he is a very talented thrower of the football. So when you don't ask him to do it all the time and you just say, okay, 21 times a game, we're going to drop back and we're going to throw it to Jackson Smith and Jigba and all of these other receivers and Rashid Shaheed and his speed, that's what we're going to do. We're going to throw it to the tight end, and those windows will be there because of them pounding that rock over and over again. Yeah,
it's a really good formula. It's a really well-coached team. Houston has some similarities that way too, where maybe we aren't a great running team, but we can stick with it because we have this defense and take a little bit off the plate of our quarterback. And I find it interesting, Wig. This year the quarterbacks are good, but there's not Mahomes and Lamar and Burrow. And, some of it's scheme and coaching, and defense is helping out quite a bit across the league. And I just find it fascinating.
I find it fascinating too. And I'm finding a lot of these dudes is making $50 million a year. You know what their problem is? The teams, they got major weaknesses because, they're paying one guy all of that money. Yeah, it seems like the teams that aren't quite paying that premium of a price spread it out a little bit and have more weapons at their disposal. All right, we're going to get to these cold weather games because I think those frigid temperatures, I always joke around with Maddie. It was 24 degrees here in Jacksonville, Florida. Somebody told me it's 44 in Miami right now, and I know they're probably panicking down there, man. They probably got their pipes wrapped up and everything else with it being 44 degrees in Miami. But it is hot on the show in the barbershop. We'll get to all of those games in the cold weather in just a second. you by Ultimate QB. Man, I know everybody thinks they can be a GM. I'm just wondering if everybody believes that they could be a franchise quarterback too. We talked about that just a second ago. If you ever wish to become a pro quarterback and getting drafted first overall, you need to try the mobile game that's just for you called Ultimate QB, Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of the number one draft pick quarterback, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness to help turn a failing franchise into a dynasty. This is the number one QB career mode game on the mobile app stores, and it introduces the most realistic environment with full career control. Great to use on a plane because you can do it offline. So when you're airplane mode on a plane, if your flight is long enough, man, you might even get a couple of seasons in. Just head over to ultimateqb.com, and that's ultimateqb.com, or search for Ultimate QB in your app store. We've got something special for you guys. Use the promo code Locked On, all caps, in the game's store to get a free boost at the start of your career. It's Ultimate QB, Football Legend, QB1. It's your legacy. And today's show is sponsored and brought to you by Home Chef. If you guys are like me and you need good food options, but you sometimes run out of time and you can't get it done, Home Chef is right there for you as the new year gets going. A lot of people are really just trying to simplify their routines. And dinner is a big one. Between busy work days, cold winter nights, and packed schedules, having an easy, reliable dinner plan makes a huge difference. That's where Home Chef comes in. Home Chef takes the stress out of cooking by delivering fresh, pre-portioned ingredients right to your door with easy-to-follow recipes that actually taste great. They're rated number one by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease, and it's easy to see why. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Just go to homechef.com/lockedon. That's homechef.com/lockedon for 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. All right, we're moving and grooving here with my main man, Matt Williamson, here on a Friday edition of the Barbershop. Friday edition, that means we're going to do some pick'ems, but we're going over a little bit of preview action right now. We're also going to talk some coaching jobs pretty soon here with Matty, but we're going to get through this first because these cold weather games are going to make a difference to me. I actually, when we get to the pick'em part, I'm probably going to pick one team that's not a cold weather team that's on the road to win. And we'll see who that is. But first and foremost, Bears and Rams are going to get it done, man. They're going to get at it. I might pick two teams that aren't cold weather teams. We'll see. This is going to be a good game, though, man. But the Rams got to play way better than they played last week against Carolina. Here's another crossover with the Bears and the Rams previewing their game.
They need to win this game. This is not a, hey, we got to the second round, it's all good. Their window, like you mentioned, is right now. Matthew Stafford just put up the best year of his entire career. Matthew Stafford's had a darn good career, and this is the best he's ever been. You got Puka playing at a high level. You got all sorts of weapons all over the field.
I'm still concerned about that defense, man.
Yeah.
I like some of the players. I like Curl. I love Kobe Durant. But for some reason, the secondary does not scare me enough, man, to see if they can get some confusion to a young but confident Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and boy, I feel like the Bears are just playing with house money right now, too. You know, that they got nothing to lose. They never think they're out of it. They're a young, dangerous boxer that's just throwing haymakers, you know, and kind of as he mentioned, I'm sure the Rams are a little tighter here. You know, like it's not just okay to get this far and get knocked out. Where for the Bears, they get knocked out this round. It was an unbelievably successful season. They're young and they don't even know what they don't know yet. You know,
they don't even know, man. They like when I was 7, I got on roller coasters. When I got 21, I stopped doing it because I was scared. When you're 7, you have no idea what you're supposed to be afraid of. But here's one thing I will tell you about this game. This is where experience is good and bad at the same time. Experience is good because Matthew Stafford is a Super Bowl champion and he's been there. Devontae Adams, they've been around the block a few times, right? Sean McVay is a championship Super Bowl winning coach. Here's where it goes bad. It's going to be cold. And as a resident dude that is over 55 years old, let me tell you something about cold weather and old bones, especially guys that are banged up. It does not go well, Matty.
No, it's 100% true. And Now, I'm sure Stafford's played a lot of cold weather games, as has, Adams and all those dudes. But I definitely think weather in all 4 of these games can be a factor. I assume I know Caleb Williams physically can handle it. I know Stafford, I'm talking about throwing the ball through weather.
Yeah.
I got no concerns about that. But I do think the old guy factor of just everything hurts a little bit more does matter. Yeah.
It does, man. I'm telling
you.
It is something that you can't really take for granted. But I think we'll get to the pick 'em in a second.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the inexperience might play a little bit into this game. Now let's get to a real good one. The New England Patriots, that even though I knew they were going to win last week, I did not know they were going to win that soundly. And they are a very, very good team. Mike Vrabel has extracted stuff out of guys I didn't even know were capable of doing. Kayvon Chason is the main one. Kayvon Chason had like 4.5 sacks in 4 years with the Jaguars, and I think he had half of that last week. So he's really gotten the best out of him, but that Texans defense, man, I love the fact when I watch the Texans and I watch the Eagles and the Seahawks, that microphone on the sideline, man, makes me – I feel like I'm getting hit when those guys are playing. Those guys are playing so tough. Let's take another look at a preview with Locked On Texans and Locked On Patriots.
The second key to victory for me with the Patriots is up the physicality. You had a very physical football game against the Chargers. Houston is fast. They're physical. They hit hard. Drake Maye said on Wednesday that, the linebackers try to take your head off when they hit you. So
they do.
You got to up the physicality against. If you thought you were physical against the Chargers, amp that up. You've got to be even more physical against Houston on Sunday. And I wonder, will the rest day help the Patriots with that? Obviously, the Pats have one more rest day than the Texans.
So the thought may be, well, why would you go be physical with a physical team? I tell you why, because you can't run from it. Yeah. Matt, you got to meet it head on. You cannot run from that grind. This is going to be a game, man, where the offensive line for New England is going to show us whether or not they survived this year all the way to the number 2 seed, because this is the ultimate test. Those big boys are ready to go.
Oh, man. And as you can imagine, I did a ton of homework on Texans because they were coming to town last week and they whipped up on the Steelers. But even being as prepared as I was for that game, their defense blew me away.
Yeah,
I mean, it's fast, it's aggressive, it's nasty. I mean, Stroud was giving the ball away, and I felt like the defense took it personally. Okay, you're going to give us bad field position. I don't care. I'm still going to deal with it. I'll overcome anything you throw at me. And I like the Patriots, but they have not faced a defense like this. If you look through their schedule, it's been an easier schedule. We all know that, but they have not faced an elite defense like this. And I don't think their offensive line is particularly good.
And when it hits you in the face, you get punched in the face like I know Houston's going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And Will Anderson, man, let me tell you something. I people that I respect thought he wasn't worth what they gave it. People that I love and respect that know this game thought Will Anderson was not going to be a good player, and they really doubled down when Houston gave up 2 first-round picks to go up and get him. Well, that one's out of the window. That dude looks like he's headed to Canton, and Daniil Hunter looks like he's headed there too, and so does Derek Stingley. So we'll see how that plays out for this particular game. All right, man, me and Matt's going to whip around and pick them. It's only 4 games left. That means Matty is going to end up telling you who he believes is going to play for the championships in each one of these conferences. We'll get to it in just a second here on Locked On NFL. All right, man, today's show is sponsored and brought to you by Game Time. NFL season is in full swing, and there's nothing like being at the game. The crowd noise, the energy, and cheering alongside other fans. Watching at home is great, but being in the stadium, oh, no, it hits a lot different, man. The frustrating part has always been getting tickets, waiting in queues, dealing with logins, and watching prices change right at checkout. I was in Aruba on beach. And a very successful DJ called me and said, man, I need tickets. I said, well, I ain't got no tickets for you, but you can go to Game Time and get some because I know they got them for you. And guess what? It happened. That's why the Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing NFL tickets and experiences in just a few taps. Man, listen, this is what you need to do. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today and get back to being there live. And today's show is sponsored and brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The wild card round, the division, it is all here. These teams are going to be playing to go to the conference championship, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode every game during the NFL playoffs. FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action, because right now, every NFL playoff game, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. The boost gives you more juice on the bets you already like, instead of forcing you to bet on something new. You make your picks, then apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Kicking it with my main man, Matt Williamson, as we go ahead and whip around and pick these games, and then we're going to do some job talk, because Matt works up there with Steelers organization, and Mike Tomlin is no longer there, and that's going to be a big difference moving forward. But before we get to that, Matty, let's go ahead and get down to it, man. Let's go Bills and Broncos. What you got?
I hate picking against Josh Allen right now, but I don't think this is I just don't think this is a very good matchup for the Bills, because I think their passing game gets shut down by Surtain and that defense. I think they'll harass Allen. Buffalo might run on him, but I think Peyton's going to do really dedicated to his run game, and I don't trust Buffalo's run defense at all.
If you are going to beat Josh Allen, I don't think Bo Nix at this stage of his career is the guy that's going to do it in the playoffs.
I hear you.
Trevor Lawrence would do it last week because the Jacksonville was hot as fish grease. And it almost happened with a minute and a half left. The Jaguars were winning the game, but that's not the way this goes. I think Buffalo's going to figure out a way to pull it out again, and they're going to win that game, Matty. All right, I'll go in this order. Let's stay right there in the AFC. We're going to go Pats and Texans.
I think Stroud's a much better player than he showed in Pittsburgh, but I also don't think Houston will have as much success on the ground. I really dislike the fact that I don't think Nico Collins has a chance to play in this game. That's a bummer. I really wanted to see him do battle with Gonzalez, and I was really impressed with the Patriots defense. I think this is going to be extremely low scoring, though, because I have such respect for Houston's D. I think New England wins it like 13-12.
I'm going, you know what? Jaguar fans ain't gonna like this, but I gotta be honest. I can't just go with my emotions. I think Houston is going to beat them silly, physically, not on the scoreboard. Yeah. I think the score ends up 20-17, but I think Houston is just too good defensively. And I think New England's a really, really good run operation. I just don't think they're quite ready yet. But
I tend to agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get to the NFC. Let's stay in Chicago. Let's stay in some cold weather real quick. Bears hosting those Rams.
I think this will be fun too. Again, really advanced offenses that are playing great. I'm not betting against McVay and Stafford, though. I think they're going to figure out a way in a back-and-forth type game to win this one.
Yeah, and I think if they win it in a certain manner, it probably will give people confidence in picking the Rams as their Super Bowl champion again, or the team that they believe has the best shot. Because right now, confidence is a little bit low. Those boys were limping last week, and Carolina almost pulled up off a massive upset. But I'm going to go with the Rams, too, because of experience. And I'm going to put Ben Johnson in the same situation that I'm going to put Mike Vrabel. Not quite ready yet. The Jaguars, not quite ready yet. Great regular season, not quite ready yet.
All ahead of schedule, but not quite ready.
That's right. Because this step is a big one.
It's a huge one. Yeah.
This is a big step for a young team, and there's no shame in thinking that we might not see it happen right now. All right, let's go out to the West Coast. Niners against the Seahawks, a game we basically saw a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and I always doubt the Niners. I keep thinking that their road has to be coming to an end here. I'm gonna still doubt them. I just don't think they have enough talent on defense. And
Yeah,
Seattle's rested.
I think Seattle is going to ground and pound. Look, they're on the third string linebackers. I don't think Fred Warner's going to play. If he does,
No.
he looks like he can't really push off. Don't know about Trent Williams. That would definitely help, though. But losing George Kittle, man, it's like I give them credit, and I might even say Shanahan is the coach of the year because he got them to this point with all of that attrition and injuries to their best players. Their best players are the guys that got hurt, and they still managed to get this done. I'll give them credit for it, but I don't think they're going to win this game. I got Seattle. So it looks like we're setting up Seattle and the Rams, and it looks like you got Bills and Patriots, and I got – no, you got Broncos and Patriots, and I got Bills and Texans.
And I'll admit, I'd be shocked if we really do see Knicks versus Maye in their second year,
Yeah, for sure. Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin, your feelings. I have to get your feelings on Himley. I talked to Chris yesterday. You're in the building up there as a part of their radio team. It's going to be some changing, man. This is a change that fit. I tell them all the time. I'll repeat it. It's the most astonishing thing I can say in my life outside of Pittsburgh's history at the center position that you brought up to me. They had 3 coaches my whole life, man, and I'm sitting here with a face and a head full of gray hair, and they've all won Super Bowls. So now they're going to have their 4th coach. Where do you think they're looking, and what do you think they're going to do?
Yeah, it's been 3 in my lifetime too. My son is a freshman at University of Kentucky. He's only seen 1. So that's pretty crazy too. I like all the dudes that they've brought in. There's 6 or 7 names. It's all the ones that everybody's into. Shula and Minter, and I think there's a lot of Flores, who was here before. They told all the coaches today that they're all out, and I think it's the right move. I have great respect for Coach Tomlin. He's done wonderful things here, but I think a wholesale change, the time has come, and everything has to be about that next quarterback, and that to me is the biggest thing, the elephant in the room.
So they're changing everything, but with the names I've seen, it seems like it's on brand that they're not changing their identity. Because I agree. Tough guy defense. They're going. Yeah, that's what they're going to do, man. And
And the Miami. Next hire is what interests me is, okay, you hire a defensive dude, who's your OC? Because that to me is big.
Yeah, that is going to be big. And that may change a little bit. If people forget now, Ben Roethlisberger used to throw the ball around. Pittsburgh ain't always been 3 yards.
Oh, no, right, yeah.
Miami, to me, is the most difficult job. Like, if I was a coach, that would be the job that I probably would not want to touch at all. They interviewed Jaguars defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile, who has a connection to Miami and a connection to the new GM that came from Green Bay. I absolutely think he'd be a home run hire. I believe he's going to get that job, but that's going to be tough sledding for a minute, man, because they don't have a quarterback. Even though the offensive line played a little bit better this year, they just got too many things going on, too many holes, and it just seems like that's a 2-3 year thing before they even turn it around.
I tend to agree, and the Tua contract is an albatross as well. I don't think that they have a ton of talent. I would imagine Tyreek's going to be gone. And what are your real building blocks there? I'll be honest, though. I mean, there's 3 or 4 of these jobs, Cleveland, Arizona, Vegas, that are good luck, man.
Yeah. I don't mind. I like the Atlanta position, though. They got a first-round pick. They got a good offensive line. Hey, Matt, they finally got pass rushers.
I know. It's unbelievable.
Yep. And those guys can really, really play. Got some decisions to make with guys like Kyle Pitts and, of course, quarterback situation. When you have to make a decision with 2 guys that you believe can play, that's not as bad as having to make a decision when you don't have a guy that can play. Yeah. I think Bijan Robinson is top 5 in the NFL offensive player, not just – he's number 1 at running back, but I think he's top 5 in the NFL as far as a weapon. I think it's a good situation. So we'll have to see how these things shape up. But first and foremost, it's all about the action on the field this weekend with the playoff games. So you guys make sure you tap in and enjoy those games. Follow all of our Locked On podcast channels, especially here on Locked On NFL, for the latest news from around the National Football League. And tap into the Everydayers Club. Look down in the description of the shows that you love and tap in. For $5 a month, man, you get access to our merchandise, like this beautiful shirt that I have on right now. But mainly, it just gives you a little bit more in the Everydayers Club. You get all kinds of stuff, man. Audio versions of our show with ad-free capability. So make sure you check that out in Everyday's Club down in the description. Matt and I are going to get it going, man, and we're going to get out of here and leave it to y'all. Good luck. If your team is playing this weekend, we'll see you on Locked On NFL.